Welcome into our first 3-round mock draft for the Jaguars for the 2023 NFL Draft. It's the bye week, folks. Jaguars are 3-7. It is in fact time to start figuring out what the future could look like here in Jacksonville, at least for me. We've got a couple weeks before the Jaguars retake the field against the Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to get into this mock draft. We're also going to kind of take a look at, over the next week or so, what do the Jaguars have on their current roster? Where do they need to improve? We're going to get into all that over this bye week. But right now, 3-round Jaguars mock draft for 2023. Ran this over on the PFN Mock Draft Machine Pro Football Network. So don't blame me if X player is available when you think they should be gone, etc. There's still a really long way to go in this draft season. There's more football to be played for these players. There's the All-Star circuit, the Combine, Pro Days, all that stuff. Long way to go. And by the way, this is a predictive mock draft. So I'm predicting what if Trent Baalke remains in place, which it looks like he will based on a lot of the moves the Jaguars have made. This is based on what I think Trent Baalke might do, given these scenarios, given this situation. The Jaguars currently hold the 5th overall pick in the first round, 36th in the second round, 67th in the third round. So they've got some really nice picks over the first 2 days of the draft. They've also got a really a stockpile of picks on day 3. When you look at multiple 4ths, potentially multiple 5ths, multiple 6ths, they've got a lot going on in this draft, but we're sticking with the first 3 rounds right now. It's still really early. I haven't even gotten past, I think I've gotten 75 prospects graded so far. So we're going to dive into it though right now with the Jaguars. With the 5th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Jaguars select defensive tackle Jalen Carter out of Georgia, a true junior from Apopka, Florida, former 5-star recruit, supremely physically gifted, perhaps the most talented defensive prospect in this class, behind Alabama's Will Anderson. You've got a couple quarterbacks coming off the board. You've got Will Anderson coming off the board. Jalen Carter falls to 5. Again, this guy has all the tools to be a dominant interior defensive lineman in the NFL. He's 6'3", 300 pounds, so not the biggest interior defensive lineman you're going to come across, but he has incredible twitch, explosiveness, has a nice variety of interior pass rush moves. He deconstructs blocks really well with his hand usage, his body control. He stacks combos. He has really good bend for a guy that's 300 pounds and really nice ankle flexion. I think he can play in any system. Lightning quick first step off the line. That leads to extreme violence at the point of attack against the run and the pass. This guy lives in opposing teams' backfields. He finishes a lot of plays in that backfield thanks to body control, lateral quickness, overall athleticism, and speed. Dealt with some injuries to start 2022, but he's back in action, playing a full allotment of snaps now. And over the last 3 weeks, returning healthy, 10 pressures, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 9 stops. He's been on a warpath for the Georgia Bulldogs. And in 2021, this guy was the best player as a true sophomore on a defense that was literally all NFL players and a handful of first-round picks. A lot of comps to Daron Payne, Quinnen Williams. I think he's closer to Quinnen Williams. They have the same size profile at 6'3", 300. But I think he feels a little less powerful than Williams, maybe a little more athletically gifted overall, but I would probably have Williams as a higher graded prospect when all is said and done than Jalen Carter. But that's no knock on Jalen Carter. I think this is the type of guy you take in the top 5, top 10 every single year. I think he might have a better floor than either Daron Payne or Quinnen Williams because his technique is really starting to shine. His hand usage and his development in the leverage department, his development in his pad level, and he's a freak show. I think he's a little more advanced than those two were coming out. So maybe a little bit better floor in year one for Jalen Carter here. He has clear Pro Bowl potential, maybe even all pro. I mean, I think that he's significantly better than the prospect the Jaguars took at 1 overall in 2022. He's a fit based on what Jacksonville needs. More pass rush, right? And he's the best player available on the board at this point for me. He's capable of aligning at DT in the 4-3 when you get into nickel and you have 4 down linemen. He's capable of playing defensive end in the 3-4 and has the ability to stunt effectively, has the ability to do a lot of different things for you. If Mike Caldwell's still the Jaguars defensive coordinator in 2023, you're talking about a guy who has the versatility to align all over that defensive front. And that's something Mike Caldwell has clearly shown that he values as a defensive coordinator. I think if you pair him with what you've got on the defensive line already in that defensive front, you might be cooking in 2023. I think that you could see a dramatic jump by getting a player the caliber of Jalen Carter on this defensive line. So yeah, Jalen Carter at number 5 out of Georgia. That's what I would have the Jaguars doing here. Trent Baalke loves defensive linemen. He loves defensive linemen in the first round. And I think that he would absolutely be smitten with Jalen Carter if that opportunity presents itself. Now, Jaguars don't pick till 36 after that, pretty close to the top of the second round. What do they need? They still need quite a bit in my opinion, but the way the board fell here on the Pro Football Network mock draft machine, we're looking at cornerback Christian Gonzalez, true junior out of Oregon, transferred over from Colorado. Will he be available at 36? I don't think so, but there are a handful of corners, literally 5 corners that I currently have first round grades on that make sense here, and Gonzalez is the one out of those 5 that fell to the Jaguars at 33. It's very possible that all 5 of these corners are gone. When you talk about Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr., Cam Smith, Clark Phillips, and Keely Ringo out of Georgia. But we have Christian Gonzalez falling here in this PFN mock draft machine, so Christian Gonzalez is the pick. I have a mid to late first on him right now, so this obviously presents tremendous value. And for me, every pick that you make needs to present value. And I think Trent Baalke thinks the same way. But the Jaguars, they need to improve opposite Tyson Campbell desperately. Their left cornerback spot has been a weakness in 2022. Whether it's been Shaquille Griffin, whether it's been Trey Herndon, Buster Brown has kind of shown some development, but he's still working through it as a rookie. Insert Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon, a former 4-star. He's 6'2", 201 pounds. He has that size and length you're looking for. He has great ball skills. But for me, his hips and his feet are the star of the show right now. He can flip those hips quicker than anyone I've seen. Can play man or zone, press or off. He's a good tackler. He's a high effort player. 3 interceptions already in 2022. 6 pass breakups already. You now have a chance inserting Christian Gonzalez into this lineup to play consistent defense, thanks to adding more beef up front and pass rush up front with Jalen Carter and a guy like Christian Gonzalez with shutdown potential opposite Tyson Campbell. And so you look at improving this defense, it has dramatically dropped off throughout the course of this season. The Jaguars defense has. They need help. They need more talent on the back end and on the front end. You've got that in these first 2 picks. And again, it would not surprise me to see Trent Baalke go in this direction because he's shown that he likes to go get these types of players on day 2. Long, athletic guys that he thinks can come in and contribute and develop. And you've seen that with Tyson Campbell, a 2021 day 2 pick, top of the second round in 2021 for the Jaguars. That's worked out really well. I have a better grade on Christian Gonzalez than I did on Tyson Campbell. So this could be the start of something special if you're able to get a Christian Gonzalez to pair with Tyson Campbell. You've already got Andre Sisco playing really well. Rayshon Jenkins is playing pretty well at strong safety. Certainly a better run defender than a pass defender, but he's racked up 4 pass breakups already this year. He's been making some plays, even if he's not the most consistent in coverage. But now you have a secondary you can feel a lot better about, especially, too, you've got Darius Williams under contract as well through 2024, excuse me. Now, you've got 2 defenders, Jalen Carter, Christian Gonzalez. How are you going to help out your third-year quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who he's had a breakout in year 2 for the most part. He's coming off 2 really good games. It's been a little up and down, but that's to be expected for a young quarterback in a new system. Trevor Lawrence entering year 3. You went and got Calvin Ridley for him next year. You've got Christian Kirk. You've got Zay Jones. What else are you going to do to add to that arsenal? I think you go get, based on the board here, wide receiver Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee, another true junior, another former 4-star. Again, I don't think it's likely that Jalen Hyatt makes it to 67 overall for the Jaguars, but there will be quality wide receiver options here, quality wide receiver options that can help you stretch the field. If you have Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones, and insert Jalen Hyatt, that's tremendous. And you talk about, well, they have 3 receivers locked down next year that are all going to be fairly expensive. That's true. But you don't know what's going to happen with Calvin Ridley. You don't know if you're going to keep Zay Jones at his current price tag after the 2023 season. He's got it out in his contract. So I do think it makes sense to go add another talented receiver, and not only for beyond 2023, but for the 2023 season as well. You need more than 3 quality receivers in this league to be a successful passing offense, to be a consistent passing offense, to be a passing offense that could be multiple and threaten in so many different ways. So I think that adding another wide receiver at some point, whether it's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, makes a lot of sense for these Jaguars, both in the immediate outlook for 2023 and the long-term outlook beyond. You want to make sure that you have Trevor Lawrence loaded up with talent at that position. Jalen Hyatt has speed for days, lightning quick off the line, and he's been lighting college football up all year. Over 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 19 yards per catch in 10 games in 2022 so far. He's 6'1", 180, so he's a little light, but he has enough length. He has enough, in my opinion, functional strength to survive in the NFL. He has a line primarily in the slot. So when you talk about that, you got to factor that into what you're going to project him doing what you're going to project him doing for your team in the NFL. He hasn't really proven that he can consistently beat press and release off the line of scrimmage on the outside. He hasn't really proven that he can run the full route tree. But what he has proven is that you line him up in the slot, you get him in these bunch formations, he will beat coverage down the field. He will separate down the field, and he'll separate underneath as well. Again, incredible speed, incredible quickness. He's going to be a big-time yak threat as well, thanks to that twitchiness, elusiveness, and top-end speed, which looks like clearly 4.3 speed. The Jaguars need more of a deep threat, right, to their passing game. Calvin Ridley will provide that. You need even more, in my opinion, because Zay Jones isn't winning deep a lot. Christian Kirk isn't winning deep a lot. You need multiple guys that can do it. I think Jalen Hyatt brings that to you. And if you can have a high-octane offense, passing offense, to go along with that high-octane rushing offense that you have in Travis Etienne, you can become one of the most difficult offenses to stop in the entire league in 2023. I think it's hard to pass up on that in the 3rd round. I think this is great value. Again, if it's not Jalen Hyatt, there will be talented receivers on the board. I've watched a lot of guys that are going to be available at this spot. There's a lot of players that make sense at receiver. You could also look at tight end, potentially. Clearly, Michael Mayer will be off the board, but you'll have some talented tight ends to work with here as well. I think the bottom line is you need to go get another receiving option for Trevor Lawrence at some point in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round if you're the Jaguars. I absolutely think you need to do that. Like I said, Hyatt still has a lot to prove in terms of his release package and his route tree, but you cannot teach what he does, which is run really fast, catch the football, and separate from defenders. And he gives full effort all the time. I really like the way he plays the game. So you give him a limited role to start the season, and then you build on it throughout as he gets more comfortable. But that limited role could be a slot, deep threat role, stretch the seams, uncover underneath. The Jaguars like to run a lot of those crossers. I think Jalen Hyatt can certainly do that. So I think looking at this 3-round mock draft for the Jaguars, you've added an interior pass rusher who's also excellent against the run, to pair with what you've got on the interior already. You added Christian Gonzalez to play opposite Tyson Campbell, desperate need and a great value. And then you added more talent at the receiving position in Jalen Hyatt. Again, I think whether it's Jalen Hyatt, whether it's a different receiver, whether it's a tight end, the Jaguars really could use another set of hands that can get open for Trevor Lawrence. That is going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are as amped up for draft season and for looking at what the Jaguars need to do to get to the playoffs in 2023 to build more foundation, to build upon the foundation that they have already started to lay, and to get more foundational pieces and just create a winning culture, a winning organization under Doug Peterson with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback and Travis Etienne at running back and some of these other special young players the Jaguars have. I'm fired up for it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the mock. Love to know your thoughts in the comments. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, at Generation Jag. Please hit that like and subscribe button, the notification bell, so you don't miss a show on here. And if you want to support the channel even further, you can become a channel member here. Get discounts at genjag.com. Another way you can go check out, another way you can support the channel is checking out genjag.com. and picking up some new gear. Lots of Duval gear, lots of fun stuff up on genjag.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, Duval. Appreciate your support. Hope you have a great Wednesday.